On the front, the Russians are also not following the ceasefire agreement. In the past 24 hours, there were 144 combat clashes. Ukrainian soldiers are responding to enemy attacks, specifically hitting Russian positions with the Bliskavka. This strike drone destroys artillery and crews. See how it happens in this joint report with Armia TV.
And another enemy target destroyed. This is the result of the Ukrainian Bliskavka's work. A drone that was a response to the Russian Molnia, but Ukrainian engineers went further.
We made a swivel camera mechanism which makes work much easier in conditions like fog or whatever. I can lower the camera, look here, 90 degrees even right below me to see what's happening, or do some extra reconnaissance to confirm the terrain where you are just to get your bearings.
The Bliskavka carries explosives weighing up to 8 kilograms, hitting targets at a distance of up to 80 kilometers.
Our target profile. It's pilots, enemy pilots, FPV operators, Mavic users, and artillery. That's the profile of the targets that we specifically work on.
The Bliskavka's design is as simple as possible. 2 aluminum tubes, plywood, and foam. But its strength lies in this simplicity. The cost of such a drone is about 36,000 hryvnias, many times cheaper than the targets it destroys.
Its most expensive component is, it's still the electronics, the flight controller, the motors. The guys are going to assemble it all now, secure it, balance it, set up the warhead and the battery in the back. It's being balanced so that it's level and stable in the air. The flight controller is programmed to our tuning frequencies.
And now the drone is ready for the hunt.
Fritz, set it up.
Well, Godspeed, brother.
Go for it. Yeah, right on the crosshair. Yeah, stay right on the crosshair. You're doing fine. Yeah, lower.
Got it, I was armed, so it's a detonation.
That's it, mission accomplished. We can clap just like for a plane.
One precise strike and the Russians lose an FPV drone crew, another strike and it's minus enemy artillery.
Artillery is firing at our pilot's position, so we're changing our route now and heading there. We'll try to hit it so that at the very least it packs up and leaves. Okay, I see that turn.
Yeah, further left and get your bearings, Sasha.
Oh, even lower?
Yeah.
I see it. Okay, we're coming in nicely. Lifting it up a bit. Look at this.
Further right, go.
Yeah, beautiful.
Right about there. The picture is completely gone.
Direct hit.
We're done here.
And when you realize that today you suppressed the artillery and it's no longer tearing your guys apart, well, isn't that cool? Isn't that just great?
Victoria Yarishko, Army TV, We Are Ukraine, Marathon United News.
Ukraine, together with Norway, will produce long-range artillery shells. President Volodymyr Zelenskyi called this agreement a strong one. He didn't provide other details, but noted that he received the request for long-range artillery from our defenders.
Our warriors at the front. In virtually all combat brigades, they talk about long artillery caliber, long-range artillery shells. Kill zones are expanding. Using drones of all types is a priority, but the warriors themselves say artillery is needed, and specifically long-range artillery. And now we have a new and very strong agreement with Norway. We will begin joint production of the Long 155. Exactly the kind of shells that we need.
94 passengers were evacuated from a cruise liner where an outbreak of hantavirus was recorded on board. People were taken to shore in small groups by boat and then by bus to Tenerife Airport. Countries whose citizens were on board the liner organized special flights. After the operation is completed, the vessel will be sent to the Netherlands for full disinfection. In total, there were about 150 passengers on this cruise. 8 fell ill and 3 of them died. It is believed that the hantavirus was brought by an elderly couple from the Netherlands. They visited Argentina for birdwatching and were in places where rats that carry the virus are found. This disease killed the couple.
Our advice is clear. Starting from May 10th, 42 days of active monitoring, 42 days of quarantine. This can be in a facility or at home. Of course, we advise countries, but ultimately we do not impose. Countries follow their national recommendations and can implement them based on risk assessment.
The Kremlin announced a possible visit of the US President's special representatives to Moscow for talks on Ukraine. As Russian media reports, Putin's aide, Yuri Ushakov, suggested that special representatives Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner could, quote, arrive in Moscow quite soon. According to Ushakov, the frequency of phone contacts between Washington and Moscow supposedly shows that the United States is not withdrawing from the war settlement process. Meanwhile, the head of the Kremlin himself, Putin, wants Volodymyr Zelenskyi to call him if he is interested in a meeting. The Slovak Prime Minister voiced this response from the Russian dictator to a message from the Ukrainian president after a visit to Moscow. According to Robert Fico in Yerevan, Volodymyr Zelensky told him that to end the war, he is ready for negotiations at the level of the leaders of Ukraine and Russia. So now Putin is waiting for a personal invitation by phone. The Russian dictator has already stated that if a final peace treaty is signed with Zelensky, he will even go beyond Moscow. Joining me now is Lyudmila Pokrovchuk. She is a doctor of philosophy and an expert in foreign and domestic policy. Ms. Lyudmila, welcome.
Greetings.
These unprecedented security measures that were in place this May 9th in Moscow, there's probably never been anything like it. Even the Russian media are writing that the press conference took place somewhere in a basement in secret. To think about what to do next with the war in Ukraine for Putin.
You know, he might really want to resolve all this, but given our position, as long as we stand steadfast on our own, then of course he only has one thing left, which we've seen before, to stall for time. And in principle, that visit by Witkoff and Kushner, I think, will be to understand in what direction the negotiation processes will go. So Putin will stall for time. He will see how it all unfolds. He will again conduct some negotiations with Trump, given that they have certain interests in the Middle East, and Putin needs to, win time in order to still come out with his own positive political context. Regarding the issue of the Russian-Ukrainian war, because to allow some kind of defeat, we saw perfectly well how he spoke with journalists there and how he tried to save face, that everything is fine, that the parade is over. He greeted everyone there and everything is going well for him at the front. He's fine and the economy is fine, and negotiations with the United States are going as well as possible. So everything is good. And he even concluded that we will try to restore relations with Europe and hope they will be good relations. So today, yes, he is saving face because, first of all, he doesn't understand today what the White House administration's policy will be, given that the United States is entering a full election cycle this summer and their primaries are starting and no one will understand what Trump's policy will be, because we observe this pendulum policy in 2025 and 2026, also considering the words of Rubio, who speaks about achieving some specific results in the negotiation process. And if it's not achieved, then they might reformat the negotiation track there. And all of this for Putin today creates the conditions to stall for time. So Witkoff and Kushner are for this kind of synchronizing of watches to understand what strategy Russia will actually move in. Although, yes, Putin would like to meet with Zelensky and sign, as he noted, some kind of agreement with a strategic perspective that the war has ended. And they achieved their results as he spoke about it. So, but, he then decoded it well, and we understood all these hints that no one is going to end anything. He is aimed at continuing stalling for time. And if they stall for time, then we understand that the war will continue, unfortunately.
What proposals or documents might Witkoff and Kushner bring with them to Moscow? Because this is a very important message. While we previously saw delegations arriving or could see flights and trips made in secret, now this could be an open visit. Why is this happening and what kind of proposals could be involved?
Considering Rubio's recent statement and the message that they wanted to see some concrete results, for there to be concrete results. So most likely the Americans will indeed go to Russia, given that it's Russia. They understand well that it's Russia stalling this negotiation track, that Russia, especially Putin, isn't giving his negotiation team a mandate to start talks, especially a mandate for a political decision on a ceasefire, a long-term ceasefire. And for the Americans, they need to understand what the actual concrete results will be to see how much further they'll work on this issue. ending the Russo-Ukrainian war. So it's likely not about them bringing some specific documents. They'll likely bring some of the same proposals that were there before. We remember certain positions on Donbass, like the economic zone. We knew about reconstruction there and some other proposals they had. And regarding the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But most likely it's not so much documents, but they want to get from the Russian Federation, for example, if the American side, as we know, has made some concessions on sanctions and other political issues, made some concessions, then the Russian Federation must also show its progress on the negotiation track. Because today, besides the humanitarian track, we see absolutely no political progress at all. So for the Americans today, more than ever for Trump, there must be an understanding of what he can come out with, what political, as we say, positive perks for himself right now. He needs to understand what will happen with the Russo-Ukrainian war issue by November, considering it was a key line in his campaign, and also considering that now, during the campaign, these questions are already being asked. And there will be even more pressure with these questions, especially from journalists. Also by the Democrats themselves, certain opposition members within the Republican Party itself. What about the Russo-Ukrainian war issue? Trump will need to provide answers. As of today, we see the United States cannot provide those answers. So Witkoff and Kushner are there to get some answers to many questions that have accumulated during this pause after Geneva in the negotiation track.
Thank you, Lyudmila Pokrovchuk, Doctor of Philosophy and expert in foreign and domestic policy. Thank you. Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin stated that he would like to see former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder as a mediator in potential negotiations between Russia and the European Union to end the war in Ukraine. At the same time, European capitals have repeatedly criticized the former chancellor for his many years of work for Russian state-owned energy companies. For example, in January 2024, Schröder called for the resumption of energy cooperation with Russia, speaking out against the demonization of the aggressor country. Meanwhile, official Berlin has rejected this proposal. They believe that this fictitious proposal could split the Western alliance. German officials told Reuters that the format of the negotiations proposed by Putin is unconvincing, as the Kremlin has not changed its demands. And German government officials also believe that to confirm its intentions, Russia must extend the declaration of a 3-day truce.